What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So the bill passed. So we've averted a government shutdown, and it seems like we do this every couple of months. And realistically, we're doing this every couple of months where we're looking at a potential for a government shutdown. But the good news today is they passed a bill. It was signed off yesterday. And so now we can move forward. So our next deadline date is going to be September 30th. So we have a little bit of time now to kind of get some other things done. So let's see if Congress can get some other things done. But in this video, we're going to go over what was in this budget that they just passed. And then we'll talk a little bit about some of the drama that happened afterward. Because, there have to be drama when it comes to Congress. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of the drama that transpired after they voted for this bill. Okay, so that's what we're going to focus on in this video. But first off, if you guys can do me a favor, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and then click all. By clicking all, you'll get notified anytime we post a video. We do daily videos here, so by clicking the bell notification and clicking all, you should be getting updated every day. And just a reminder, thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. And if you'd like to follow me on Twitter and Threads, you can at the TEC Show Live. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys a clip first, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. And then we're going to get into the drama because there has to be drama when it comes to Congress. It's unfortunate, but that's the way this is the world that we live in right now. So here we go.
The motion is agreed to.
Congress overwhelmingly passed a $1.2 trillion budget bill to avert a partial government shutdown, keeping key federal agencies funded through a fiscal year that began 6 months ago. President Joe Biden signed it into law after the Democratic majority Senate passed the bill in the early hours of Saturday. Its passage means federal agencies, including the Departments of Defense, Homeland Security, Justice, State, and Treasury, will remain funded through September 30th.
It is a complete departure of all of our principles.
After the Republican-led House of Representatives passed the bill on Friday, hardline conservative Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Green threatened to force a vote to remove Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson for allowing the measure to advance. Johnson, as he has done more than 60 times since taking over from his ousted predecessor Kevin McCarthy, relied on a parliamentary maneuver to bypass the Republican hardliners, which required support from Democrats. Green's threat had echoes of October when a small band of hardliners engineered a vote that removed McCarthy for also relying on Democrats to pass a stopgap measure to avert another partial government shutdown. Some Democrats said they would vote to keep Johnson if he were to call a vote on the $95 billion security assistance package for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan, which has already been approved by the Senate. So far, Johnson has ignored it. That measure is unlikely to come up anytime soon, as lawmakers will now leave Washington for a 2-week break. Republican opposition to more funding for Ukraine has led to fears that Russia could seriously erode Ukraine's ability to continue defending itself.
Okay, so there you saw it. The bill passed. Now, there are a few interesting things that I want to talk about. One is the 2-week recess, which every month, you guys know, I go over the calendar, so the Congressional calendar, and I showed you guys that they would have a 2-week break. Now, they had to extend that, so they had to work a little bit more this month, but they're still going to get 2 weeks off. And yeah, it's unfortunate, but when we're looking at Congress, they work maybe 8 to 9 days per month, okay? 8 to 9 days per month, not 89, 8 or 9, I should say. So 8 or 9 days per month on average. Pretty sad, but that is the situation. Now, they also talked about the motion to vacate. So Marjorie Taylor Green, she is going to move forward with vacating the current speaker. And that is because the speaker is kind of going around this Freedom Caucus, and they're relying on Democrats to vote for some of these bills, to pass some of these bills. Now, just think about this. You have this far right, or the Freedom Caucus, that want everything their way. Okay? They are not willing to negotiate with anyone, with Democrats, even with some of the middle of the road Republicans, the moderate Republicans. They're not willing to negotiate with anyone. They want every single thing that they want to move forward. They don't want any obstruction at all. And so when they see Democrats helping out Republicans move this legislation when it comes to funding our government, which is, it's really sad that you have some Congress people that don't even want to fund the government. And we're talking about sensitive agencies. We're talking about Homeland Security. We're talking about all we're looking at the border right now, and they're saying it's a crisis at the border. It's a crisis at the border. One thing you don't want to do at this point is to say, okay, you know what? Border Patrol agents, you guys are going to be working for free because we can't come up with a budget. We can't pass a budget. So you need to fund these important agencies. And so right now she is going to move forward with this vacating of the speaker. So Speaker Johnson could no longer be there after 2 weeks. So basically what we're going to see is we're going to see a recess for 2 weeks. They're going to have to talk about things, I guess, and try to figure things out. And then in 2 weeks, when they return, she might file this motion to vacate and move forward with it and get the votes. It's unclear if she's actually filed it or she plans on filing it. And so we'll have to see what happens. But we could be looking at another circus in Congress where we don't have a speaker and we're trying to figure out who the next speaker is going to be. Now, we have had some Republicans that have resigned as of recent times. I mean, we had one last week. This week, I think Gallagher, I think he is planning to resign as well. And so this is a very crazy situation because the margins are really slim. It's like 1 or 2 votes that separate the Democrats and the Republicans. And so that's going to be even harder to vote for a speaker in a situation like that. So we could see, it's a possibility, where you could see a Hakeem Jeffries be able to be the next speaker and have a couple of Republicans just come on board and say, okay, we'll vote for Hakeem Jeffries and get him over the top. And all the Democrats, of course, will support Hakeem Jeffries. And then we'll have a Democrat as the speaker. So that could potentially happen. I don't see, you'd have to have some Republicans in Congress right now in the House that are really upset with what's going on. And you do have some, but they're going to have to really be upset to say, we're going to get rid of the Republican speaker that we have now, and then we'll have Hakeem Jeffries come in as a Democrat in a situation where they don't have the majority. It's possible to happen, but I don't know. We'll have to see. But the interesting thing is, what Republican is going to step up now to be a speaker if they ouster Speaker Johnson? Who would want to do that? Especially, you have to think about this. This is an election year. And everyone is all in the House. Everyone is running for re-election. Do you want to take on that position knowing that you're going to get a lot of flack from both the Democrats as well as the Freedom Caucus? You're going to get a lot of flack from both sides. Do you really want that exposure right now when you're trying to run for re-election? Do you want to put yourself in a situation where you could potentially lose your seat because of all the stuff that's going on? And so you're going to have some politicians, some Republicans in the House that are they're not going to want that spotlight. And because of that, they might not want to throw their hat in the ring. So we'll have to see what they do. But this is just, this is probably the most chaotic Congress that I've ever seen. And I've been following politics for over 30 years. I've never seen anything like this where you just have politicians that can't get along in the House or can't get along in the Senate. And they're just, it's just crazy. But ultimately, look, this is about representing the American people. Okay. That's what Congress is there for. That's what the president's there for. But Congress mainly, because Congress, you have people in the House, they represent districts. They should be representing their district. That is their job. And that means if they have a plan for the future, they need to negotiate that with Democrats in order to pass legislation. That's what it means. And you don't always get your way, and you're not always going to get everything that you want. Even amongst Republicans, you might have a plan that you want to move forward, but you have to be open to the fact that not everyone else has your exact plan in mind, and they might want to make some changes. And if they make changes, okay, you have to kind of go with it. You can't just say, well, I'm getting everything I want and they're not going to get anything. That is not how it works. And it's like high school. You're looking at these politicians and they're just crying and saying, I want this, I want this, I want. They're like the little kid in the grocery store that's throwing a tantrum because they can't get the candy that they want. And that's what we're looking at right now. And so we'll have to see what Marjorie Taylor Green does. Maybe she's just throwing all this out there. This is a threat to Speaker Johnson, but she's kind of put it out there now. So now you're going to have some people that are going to be holding her to that. Okay, well, you said you were going to motion to vacate. What happened? Why aren't you doing that? And so if it's an empty threat, it's not really going to have much. So I'm pretty sure she's thought long and hard about this, and she is going to move forward with the motion to vacate. But we're going to be looking at another chaotic. We'll say April will be chaotic as well. Maybe this is an April Fool's joke. Who knows? April 1st is very, very close. So maybe this is an April Fool's joke, and she'll let us know on April 1st that, hey, you know what? I was just playing. But we'll have to see. If you guys like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I want to know what you think about this. So let me know what you think about the circus in Congress. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.